May I come in?
Yeah, please come in.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Good
Sir.
morning.
Good morning, sir.
Have a seat, Shivin.
Thank you, sir.
So, Shivin is from Hisar, Haryana,
Yes, sir.
and Shivin has done MBBS.
Yes, sir.
You are fond of diploma in international affairs, that is your extracurricular activities, raising mental health awareness
Sir.
through YouTube videos.
Sir.
Okay. And your first preference is Indian Foreign Service.
Sir.
Another thing, your anthropology is your optional.
Sir.
Okay. All right. So tell me why unethical practices are so prevalent nowadays in every sector, including health, medical profession. One can see C-section being resorted to on a much greater, in a much greater way rather than the normal delivery for obvious reasons. Then medicines, the kind of nexus that has been established between the branded medicines and the doctors and many such things. Why we have led to this particular thing and what can be done about it?
Sir, I believe the increasing commercialization and capitalistic tendencies is leading to this trend where profits are taking precedence over the responsibility of the doctors in specific to serve the patients. However, sir, I think with the establishment of the National Medical Commission and the guidelines that they have issued, this trend is being countered. India has about 60% of its beds and 85% of its doctors in the private sector. So, sir, this needs regulation and the government is taking steps in this regard.
Okay, all right. Now, what do you understand by LAMA?
So, LAMA stands for Leaving Against Medical Advice.
So, why does it happen? Are they not happy with the treatment given at the hospital? Why there is leaving against medical advice?
Sir, as far as I have seen, there can be a couple of reasons for this. Mostly, it could be because the patient is not happy with the surgical intervention recommended by the doctor and they feel that maybe a non-surgical or a medicinal method would be better. There are also sometimes cost issues. And thirdly, issues with regards to whether they have doctors in some other hospitals that they know of and they wish to transfer, even if the doctor feels the case is urgent, they prefer transferring to a known doctor.
Okay. Now, what do you understand by soft power and what India is doing to use this soft power against other countries?
The soft power, as opposed to hard military power, is using our cultural outreach and our movies, our culture, things such as yoga, medical tourism, etc., for a diplomatic outreach to other countries. So India has been very active in this regard. We have established the International Yoga Day. Recently, the Prime Minister has launched the Heal in India initiative for medical tourism. We promote cultural activities such as Project Mosam with the ASEAN countries. And this is a great prospect for India, being a civilizational power.
Why has India become an ideal destination for medical tourism?
So for medical tourism, there are many reasons why patients are preferring India. Firstly, we have comparable technologies with the US and Europe, but the cost is about 1/10 to 1/15 of what the Americans and Europeans offer. We have English-speaking doctors, which is appealing to foreigners. We also have good promotion through the Heal in India brand, and we have good outcomes and good JCI accredited hospitals across the country.
Okay. Thank you, Hariji.
Thank you, sir.
In continuation of what you were discussing,
Sir.
then what are the bottlenecks to further expand medical tourism?
So firstly, there is and unrightly so, a perception of India as an unhygienic country, and that hinders our outreach. Secondly, sir, the Heal in India brand has been launched recently, but before this, the medical tourism was being advertised or it was being promoted through the Incredible India Tourism Initiative. So the focus was less, and the JCI accreditation does not match up to the NABH standards, which are our domestic standards. So we have much more domestic NABH accredited hospitals, that is around 564, as compared to JCI accredited, that is 38. So if we can increase that, we will expand medical tourism. And the Prime Minister has recently said that this industry earns $6 billion for us, but he wishes to get it to $15 billion.
But what about our niche was Ayurveda and the natural therapy? Why we have not, as far as tourism is, medical tourism is concerned, why we have not been able to make a dent in that area?
So the Ministry of Tourism last year has come out with a national strategy for medical tourism, and they have also included wellness tourism in this, in which Ayush, naturopathy, and wellness tourism is at the center. We are also receiving many wellness tourists from these sectors. However, the outreach is less, and the double-blind studies and research studies published needs to be increased by traditional medicine so that we can better call for patients in these areas also.
Okay, as a student of anthropology, what has led to the diversity that we see in Indian population today? What are the bases for it?
Sir, with your permission, I would like a few seconds to think about this answer. Thank you, sir.
And perhaps no other country of size of India or no other place has this much diversity as we see it here.
Sir, I believe there are multiple factors why India has this level of diversity. As one of India's prominent anthropologists, Sri M. N. Srinivas, has said, India is a melting pot of races. Historically, there have been a lot of migration from other countries as well as an indigenous population in this region. We have had an Indus Valley civilization from times immemorial. Secondly, sir, there is a lot of geographical diversity from the north to the south and from the east to the west, promoting different forms of cultures. Thirdly, sir, our tradition has been of tolerance, and we have always allowed new cultures and new ideas to flourish.
Okay, my final questions. We all have been hearing for last week or so about this Adani issue.
Sir.
What has the government to learn from this episode?
Sir, I feel the government needs to take some learning, such as the public sector enterprises, when they invest in corporate entities, they must do thorough background checks, because if they lose money, it leads to financial repression of small households, for instance, in the case of LIC or SBI. Moreover, sir, I think we need to have stricter regulation through the SEBI of corporate entities.
It's not there. I mean, do we not have a good regulation?
So we do have good regulatory mechanisms in place, but I'm sure we can improve in that sector as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shivin,
Sir.
anthropology is your optional,
Sir.
but since you have opted for foreign service as the first choice, so some questions from that area. Okay. Can you tell me 6 different distinct phases of Indian foreign policy's evolution since 1947?
So with your permission, I'd like a few seconds to think.
Sure.
So after our independence, we had a nascent phase. Post that, we were a strong champion of the non-aligned movement when we were not with either of the Eastern...
Can you tell me year-wise? Broad.
Sir, I believe from independence till the conference in 1955, I would call it the nascent phase. From 1955 to 1971, I would call it the non-aligned movement phase. In the
What happened in 62?
Sir, in 62, the conference happened, and we also fought a war with China. Sir, in 1971, we signed a treaty of friendship and peace with the Soviet Union. So, sir, I think that was an important moment, as well as the war in 1971 was a war.
I would advise you to please read upon it. 6 different phases.
Sir.
47 to 62 to 71
Sir. Thank you,
to 1991 with 74 in between, first nuclear explosion,
sir.
to 1998, second explosion,
Sir.
123 agreement with US and 2014 onwards.
Thank you, sir. I'll read
Okay.
up on this.
Yeah. So, how would you define globalization? And George Modelsky says that globalization is neither a problem nor a solution to the problem, but only a process.
So, to define globalization, I would borrow from sociologist Anthony Giddens. He has said globalization is a process where societies and economies come together such that events close to us are shaped by events millions of miles away through a gradual integration.
Okay, so basically it is integration of what all things?
Sir, it is integration of economics in terms of trade and global value chains. It is integration of cultures as people flow from one country to the other. It is also integration of ideas through soft power and cultural links.
Okay. But it has affected different countries in different ways.
So,
Can you briefly tell me how it has affected India and how it has affected South America?
sir, as far as India is concerned, with globalization and in terms of economics, India has had a great boom since 1991 LPG reforms. As far as our culture is concerned, we have taken in global ideas, but we have also preserved our own cultural identity. And sir, as we have also gotten the opportunity to have a great diaspora today because of globalization.
Agreed.
Sir, as far as South America is concerned, globalization has led to greater migration towards the United States. Speaking as a student of anthropology, sir, I feel the tribals in the region have been very badly impacted, especially the Yanomami tribals, and the mining that has been done in the region has badly impacted their lives. And certainly there has been some economic growth, but also exploitation of the indigenous population there.
But has it also led to the debt traps?
So as foreign investment comes into these countries, it does lead to debt traps because these countries are unable to service unsustainable debts. And China has had a policy in this regard with regards to its checkbook diplomacy and Belt and Road Initiative.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Doctor, and your first choice is foreign service.
Sir.
If I were to tell you that you are wasting a vacancy of a doctor, because what you want to do in a foreign service, anybody else could have done, but nobody else could have done what you can do. Please justify one way or the other.
Respectfully, sir, I would like to disagree with you because health today, especially post the pandemic, is not something that can be relegated to a doctor's chamber or a hospital. Global health diplomacy is a key issue, as well as my training will help me reach out in terms of medical tourism, which is also my work area. And
No, you don't have to be a doctor to reach out for. The diplomats are trained to do that. They pursue economic interest of the country, political interest of the country, cultural interest of the country. So how do you do it any better than those guys?
Sir, as someone who has been trained in medicine, I believe in terms of global health diplomacy and global health issues such as pandemics, antimicrobial resistance. My training will help me. Moreover, sir, that my training has also taught me scientific analysis as well as it has instilled in me empathy. And both of these I feel are very important for the foreign service, and I will carry those values there.
Okay, what is the latest development in terms of the military aid that is promised to Ukraine by America and European countries?
Sir, after a long deliberation, the NATO countries have agreed to send tanks to Ukraine. Germany has promised its Leopard 2 tanks. The Americans have promised their Abrams M1 tanks, and the British have promised their Challenger 2 tanks.
Okay, so do you think that this is a tipping point somewhere in this war?
Sir, I think this might lead to further belligerence from the Russian side, as well as we have seen former Premier Dmitry Medvedev go for nuclear brinksmanship. I believe with this NATO aid increasing, and as Ukraine now will try for counter-offensives, it might become a more dangerous situation there.
Okay, so if this is a dangerous situation, this is a time for seeking peace. What do you think is a possible meeting point between Russia and Ukraine, which could actually lead to peace? What do you think is a possible meeting point?
Sir, I think if the Russian government has promised that Ukraine will not join NATO in the future, as well as the military aid that has been given will be pulled back, we might reach a stage of peace. However, sir, I think with the current stalemate and the current situation, it will be very difficult because the war has gone on for a very long time and many lives have been lost.
What is a possible meeting point on Donetsk?
Sir, in the Donetsk region, I believe Russia would want its sovereignty and to control the region. So we could go for a demilitarized zone or an autonomous zone as a meeting point.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shivin,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
from Gurgaon.
Yes, ma'am.
They say Gurgaon is a failed millennial city. Why do they say that?
Ma'am, I believe this perception is because Gurgaon has not lived up to its infrastructure development, as well as the power cut and water cut issues are still very prevalent there.
Okay. Shivin, did you go through the budget?
Sorry, ma'am, I have not been able to read it in detail.
But I'm sure you must be updated about the health sector.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me 3 good news for the health sector.
Ma'am, the expenditure in the health sector has increased. In financial year 19, we had 1.8% of the GDP as expenditure, and now we have 2.8%, which is a positive development. We have launched the National Mission for Elimination of Sickle Cell Anemia, which I think is a very important step, especially for tribals. And there has been a promise to establish 157 new nursing colleges. Since we have a nursing shortage, I think this is a positive step.
Is there anything for mental health since you're passionate about mental health?
I'm sorry, ma'am, I have not read it in that detail. I will go and read up.
Okay, if you had to suggest any policy to help mental health, what would be your suggestions?
Ma'am, with your permission, I'd just like a second to think about this. Ma'am, I feel in terms of mental health, the main problem is stigma. Since people are very unwilling to come out and talk about this issue directly. So firstly, I think we need to have an awareness generation and stigma removal focus. Secondly, ma'am, I believe mental health outreach is very limited and very expensive. So we need to have initiatives where free counseling or outreach can be done. The government is already doing this through the Kiran helpline, but the Kiran helpline only has psychologists and not psychiatrists. So that is one area I would recommend.
Shivin, why has telemedicine not been that big of a success in India?
Ma'am, I feel telemedicine, it has done fairly well, but there are certain reasons why Indian patients in particular do not prefer it. And I believe this is also because of certain medical reasons. Ma'am, without clinical examination by the doctor directly, it is very difficult for the doctor to directly judge. Moreover, ma'am, there are connectivity and infrastructure issues with regards to telemedicine.
Shivin, you've been part of MUNs.
Yes, ma'am.
The world has imposed sanctions on Russia. Despite that, Russian economy is growing. Do you know why?
Ma'am, in my limited understanding, it might be because of the alliance without limits that the Russian and the Chinese government signed 2 weeks before the Russian government decided to invade Ukraine. Moreover, ma'am, the global south has not followed the sanctions that the Western world has imposed, and they continue to buy products from Russia. And the Indian government, for example, also continues to buy Russian oil.
Let's end this conversation with you rating these 4 values in accordance of their importance to you. Efficiency, integrity, honesty, and empathy.
Ma'am, can I take some time to? And ma'am, am I required to rate them in an order or?
Yes, in an order.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I would put integrity first, honesty second, empathy third, and efficiency fourth.
Why would you compromise efficiency?
Ma'am, I don't think efficiency needs to be compromised, but since I had to pick one over the other, I feel empathy is more important because efficiency can be done even through technology and interventions, but empathy is only something humans can do.
Thank you, Shivin.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Shivin, so we will take you back to the waiting room for a while. We'll call you again for giving the feedback.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. May I come in, sir?
Yes, come. Have a seat, Shivin.
Thank you, sir.
Shivin, when is your interview?
Sir, it's on 10th March.
Okay. This is the first time you have got a call for the civil services interview?
Yes, sir.
First attempt also?
Second attempt.
Second attempt. Okay. How many mocks have you attended so far?
So this is the fourth one.
Fourth one. How do you think you performed at this particular mock?
Sir, I think I can improve.
Okay. All right, Shivin. Let me say at the outset that your performance was very good.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I can make certain observations about the performance. Your mental alertness was very good.
Thank you, sir.
You could think while sitting there and come out with rational and objective answers. Very rational and very objective. Your knowledge and depth of knowledge is also extremely good. Clarity of thought is very much there. Knowledge about current affairs and general knowledge is also very good.
Thank you, sir.
Articulation is extremely good.
Thank you, sir.
Your eye contact, also the scanning across the board, the modulation in the voice, everything is extremely good. And the good thing which I liked was that you were very calm and composed, and you were able to come out with extremely very good answers
Thank you,
to
sir.
most of the questions. And your knowledge is spreading over almost all the subject, which is also a good thing, right from foreign affairs to your own department, that is the health. So you were able to carry through the entire thing very smoothly.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so now after that, let me tell you that which are the areas where you would like to prepare. Since you have a lot of time at your disposal. So one thing, of course, is about things typical about Hisar, which is called as a desert district in a way, because Hisar is one of the dry areas of Haryana.
Sir.
And Hisar, Bhiwani and parts of Mahendragarh. So they are the areas where not much of irrigation was available at earlier places, earlier times. And
Sir.
then, so you must know about the lift irrigation projects,
Sir.
how the water has come to this area, even though it is undulating. And then the universities which are there.
Sir.
So, livestock farm and the HAU,
Sir.
know about them. Also, I would like you to read about the nearby district Sarsa, which Sarsa and Hisar are very prominent for having those Babas. So Rampal and the Ram Rahim Babas, which are why this people are going and congregating at these Babas, even though it is a very developed state in terms of agriculture and other things.
Sir.
And then, of course, the indicators, some of the skewed indicators which are there in Haryana, why this is so,
Sir.
what can be done about it.
Sir.
The status of women in Haryana, the Khap Panchayats.
Sir.
So many things Haryana is known for good reasons and some for wrong reasons also. The reservation of jobs, that bill which is, that act which is now sub judice.
The private reservation, 75%. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
correct. And of course, since Gurgaon happens to be the place where you are residing right now,
Sir.
so Gurgaon also is something which you should know about. And then, of course, the dispute between Haryana and Punjab, the SYL and the Chandigarh.
Sir.
So these are some of the areas. What is it that attracts Haryana to the investors? That also is something, how to sell Haryana to a foreign investor. So all the
Sir.
positives, SWOT analysis in a way for Haryana. Coming to the other topics, your knowledge about your own subjects appears to be quite good. But at the same time, I would definitely like you to study what are the health reforms which are necessary post-pandemic.
Sir.
So go through them. The shortage of doctors, shortage of paramedics, the Charak oath, and things connected with the terminologies which are used in the case of medicine. So I asked you, for example, Lama, so there can be an MLR. What exactly do you mean by MLR cases? What are the rulings of the Supreme Court regarding people who are stranded on the road, are they to be given aid or medical aid, or they have to be first of all sent to the police? These elementary things, but sometimes these questions are asked.
So,
Then coming, we talked about medical tourism, which is your area also. And besides that, of course, anthropology, that you have to study quite, many questions will be asked, likely on anthropology side. Then coming to some of the general things which I would like to mention. One, of course, is the budget and the economic survey of India. You can go through that in slightly more details.
so,
And then economic indicators. So some of the foreign exchange and balance of payment position, rupee, sliding down of rupee, and the imports and the exports, the repo rate, the reverse repo rate, the monetary policy, the fiscal policy, role of Reserve Bank of India, role of Election Commission of India, role of Competition Commission of India. These are some of the things which are normally asked. Then, of course, the Constitution. Please read through the Constitution. You have sufficient time at your disposal. Many of the questions can relate to the Constitution also. So, the preamble and the fundamental rights and fundamental duties, directive principles, Article 311 and 226 and 32, all those important things. Then good governance principle, I would like you to go, because in fact GS2 and GS4 paper you should brush up now. And coming to the your argument regarding the value system which you will attach, so that efficiency, you brought it to the lowest. Well, you have a right to your opinion, but I think what happens in government, why the government of servants are criticized, are because they keep the decision making is very slow. They keep it sitting on the files, and therefore probably efficiency scores a much greater place or higher place. So after integrity, I would have said efficiency, because if you may be very honest, you have integrity, but you don't take decisions. So then what is the purpose of that? And after all, we are getting salary from the public exchequer, and public exchequer is something, the taxes collected from the public. So ultimately, we are responsible to the public in terms of taking quick decisions. Okay. So, and then what government has done to inculcate ethics amongst the public servants. So things like that. And then public policy, how the public policy is framed, the different stages of public policy. Okay. And then, of course, the foreign external affairs ministry. So read about the foreign policy, and also the global problems which are being faced by the world now. So in terms of population and then migration and climate change and terrorism and AIDS and drugs. So read through them. And also about the indices, where does India stand in terms of the happiness index and the other indices, why it is low in a large number of indices, what is the official viewpoint about it. So then general issues which I would like to mention is that the current affair, general knowledge, the spat between the judiciary and the executive, and judicial activism, judicial overreach. And also some of the general things which I would like to mention is that whenever you give an answer, if there is a controversial question, try to balance your answer. I'm not saying that you did not do that, but I'm saying that many questions can arise on issues like Central Vista project, which is a controversial area, a Statue of Unity, or for that matter, reservation policy, or Article 370. So try to take both the sides, give both the sides, and then if they ask for your opinion, it will be better to concentrate on the official policy viewpoint in that, rather than going against that. And if there is a court ruling, of course, you can base your decision and your answer on the court ruling. So if there is a Supreme Court order or a High Court order, it will be best to limit yourself to that ruling itself, rather than giving any personal opinion about it. Okay. So that's about it. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Sir, in the other mocks that I have gone to, sir, I have been told that I sound very polished. Is that an issue in any, did you?
Occasional smile would be fine, that's all. But polished, I don't see anything wrong with being polished. Polished is a good thing, I think. What exactly was the adverse thing which was associated with the word polished?
So they say that you don't have a human side, and that is not visible to the board. And
I don't think so. I totally disagree with that.
Thank you, sir.
I think your answers, everything was definitely based on the knowledge as well as you had the human side, and I don't see any reason why the humanist viewpoint is not there. All your answers were very, very cogent and very, very right. There's
So the
nothing wrong.
second thing I'd like to ask is with reference to the question Sir asked about me being a doctor and opting for the foreign service. Was my answer satisfactory, or should I?
It's fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your
All
time.
the best to you for your, ultimately we'd like to see you becoming a civil servant.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
And you don't have to say thank you to everyone. When you enter also, you can bid, you can say good morning to the lady member and then good morning to all others. Similarly, while you are leaving, you could just have to thank the lady member and the other members together.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.